How's it going, friends? Thanks for tuning in to another awesome episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? Podcast about life in the music industry. We'd like to take a second to thank this week's sponsor, Take to the Grave. Take to the Grave is traditional tattoo artist owned and does collabs with other artists from around the world to put quality artwork on quality goods. From running Start the Show promotions and playing bass in We Were Sharks, owners Sean and Alex both have an extensive background in the music scene, which made it super exciting for us to be able to partner with them to bring you this episode. If you're a fan of traditional style tattoo artwork like I am, they have a ton of rad shit for you. Shirts, hoodies, swimwear, hats, stickers and patches, banners, dinnerware, skateboards, and much, much more. Head over to www.taketothegrave.com right now and pick up some amazing new stuff today. Thank you again so much to Take to the Grave for sponsoring this episode. Now, let's get back to the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? A podcast about life in the music industry. Today, we've got Jake and Ben from the band Sporting from Rhode Island on the show. Friends, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Man.
Yeah, no problem. I feel like I can say friends, right? At least with Jake right now, because, we've already bonded. We've bonded over things, over wrestling.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
Ben, do you watch wrestling?
I do not.
Grow up, dude.
I appreciate it a lot more.
Grow up, man.
But I don't watch it.
That's all good. It's, there's a lot to really take in with it now, especially with like the, AEW and WWE, if you're the type of person that doesn't want to choose and tries to watch both. Jake, do you watch both or one or the other?
I watch both. Me and my brother are going to watch Dynamite tonight.
Nice. Yes.
It's going downhill, but I'm still watching.
Nah, Dynamite's still great. It's great. It's great. I'm interested to see if WWE does actually get better. They keep saying it's going to, but
it's getting better. I think they're just like they can't be aggressively, like they can't just have everything change at once. So it's
I think they should just fuck it, just go full bore.
I know, but when you're corporate.
Fair. That's fair.
But I can tell the differences, but at the same time, obviously it's still kind of the same format. I think if anything, it's just the fact that storylines just make a little more sense now.
Yeah. And there's, and the wrestling seems to have gotten a little bit better as well.
Yeah, way more time for wrestling.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your most recent release first. Number One Enemy. Tell us about it. What's it about?
So that song's kind of like, it kind of like can go for a lot of different things, but it basically like represents like, it's hard to, I guess, like I gotta like really think about it now. I'm like, huh. But so with the song, it's like kind of basically growing up thinking like, for example, with your parents or whatever. That's kind of what I was implying with the song. But as if you're growing up with someone just kind of like always, telling you what to do kind of thing. You kind of like feel like a slave to that person, then it kind of forms as like a psychological thing in your adult life. And it's like you go through this whole thing and you realize like, oh shit, like I don't have to like feel bad for these things anymore. Like I'm actually an individual, so that's kind of like the chorus is that's what it's really embracing is like, bury another one as another one enemy. Just kind of that kind of stuff, just kind of like coming to terms with the fact that, you don't have to be somebody's bitch, I guess.
Yeah, no, and conform to others' opinions and thoughts and stuff. That's
really punk rock message,
Well, absolutely, but it's that's a message that can't be more prominent to need than right now, I would say, in America.
Exactly. Yeah, it goes in a lot of different ways,
Right.
Personal things can just kind of reflect in like this whole general thing without even realizing.
Mm-hmm. And especially growing up, it's hard to figure out who you are and what you want to be.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
especially getting older, it's just like makes it more uncomfortable to think about, you know?
True. Ben, what are your
As
thoughts?
you get older, relationships change. I mean, Jake wrote this song, like, obviously, like, about like more of his own personal life. I just play some cool little leads in it, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
always like hearing how he writes about songs, and I always got the impression with the song that like it's someone that who like, you know, you'd think would have been like your hero growing up, like ends up being like the opposite.
Mhm.
So that's how I always took the song, as far as like how you wrote it.
Basically, that's the quickest, easiest, perfect message. Yeah.
Right. And, you know,
So just cut out everything I said and just use that.
Just pretend like I wrote the song, and I'm just like, dropping the analytical feel on
Right.
it right now.
Right. And I mean, I have kids, and one of the things that we've been having talks about lately is friendships change and things like that, and relationships change. My daughter just turned 13. She's going through friendship changes because people not so nice. And you know, and I told her, I was like, you know, that happens, that friendships change. You'll have like one of your best friends from high school you may never ever talk to again after high school.
Or like when you start in high school, you're gonna end up just having a whole new group of friends anyway. You know, when I was at 13, like that's like the exact age where I completely shifted friend groups. Like just so like that's when you come to, because I feel like that's when you start developing like more like insecurities, and like you realize like, oh, like I don't actually want to hang out with you. You know what I mean? Like you're just kind of like you also like develop like this like, again, like, you know, individuality. It's like when you're like a little
I
kid.
was gonna say you get
like,
some more freedom, and then like it's like once you get your license at 16, that's like another thing that can like change things, and like you know, like there's so many things at that age range that just happen so fast.
So many stages.
It's a lot.
Or hanging out with people that like you actually want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, because before then, you know, a lot of, you know, as a kid, even a lot of your friendships were formed from your parents, who your parents hung out with. Did they have kids? You know, you hung out with them, or family, or just who was available in the neighborhood.
Right.
You know, and as you're in school, and you actually are learning about yourself, and meeting hundreds of other people your age.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like overwhelming.
Yeah. And then once you're out of high school, usually you're like, oh man, everyone was right. It really didn't matter all that much. But when you're in high school and middle school, that is like your world. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of tough to get that perspective that like one day this might, you know, be completely different from how it is now.
Yeah, when someone told me that in high school, I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I know, Dad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you don't
Whatever.
understand.
You don't know me. You
forever
don't know
people.
anything.
But
like,
I was the same at that age, so what can I say?
Dude, we all were. I was like, when I was in high school, God, I was a prick. Like, I was not a nice kid, especially like to my parents. Like, I loved my friends and stuff, but man, I was such a dick to my parents. I wish I could go back and not be a dick.
Yeah.
You know, like at being an adult and a parent now, it's like, God, dad me would have just wanted to kick the shit out of that kid like all day. Like, just like
you think about the things you did and you're like, man, that would really piss me off.
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh my God. I don't even know what I'd do.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh, I would hate me for sure. Like, I'd be like, I love you, son, but I fucking hate you.
It's like, thank you so much, Mom and Dad, for still loving me.
Yeah, I have no idea how my parents still love me and like allowed that time to become a better person. But my parents are both like two of the most supportive people in my life, so I'm freaking blessed to have them.
Oh yeah, bro. I mean, look behind you.
Oh, all my toys?
Yeah.
I mean, those aren't like old, those are pretty new. But I do actually have I do have like a bunch of original like action figures from when I was a kid. My dad never threw any of them away.
You never took them out of the package?
Oh yeah, yeah. I have some old ones that are in the box that I somehow had like the like fortitude, I guess, to not open. But not a whole lot. I have them out of the box. All of those are just more collectible, newer ones.
That's awesome.
I have
Yeah,
a bunch of
things
I have
I
a bunch
like.
of Legos that my parents got me when I was younger in the back room right now.
Hell yeah.
And that's one of those things that like when I go into stores now and I see the price of Legos, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I can't believe I was that kid that wanted all these when I was younger.
Oh, they weren't that expensive when you were young.
That's fair too, but they can't have been cheap either. I'm
No.
sure they're cheap relative to now, but relative to then, I'm sure that they were
probably a little bit more expensive, but at the same time, they weren't doing the same things that they do now, to where everything is a collection. You know,
that's fair.
before, like when you were younger and stuff, it was like, here's a box of fucking blocks.
Yeah.
Create something with your mind.
Yeah. No, that's what we got. It's like all in like a huge like tote in the back. It's like thousands of just random Lego pieces just like scattered around.
The way it was intended to be.
Oh, exactly.
Use your imagination.
Yep.
Create.
I was always scared of Legos.
I never played with Legos very much when I was a kid, to be honest.
They gave me like headaches. Like I would just get so frustrated so fast.
I can't say I ever had that experience.
I can't either. I mostly was just like, I just like to play with my action figures. I actually, when I was younger, do you guys ever like, do you play video games at all?
Oh yeah, I play a lot. I finally secured a PS5.
Nice.
So I've been playing that, and I have an Xbox. So
do either of you play like role playing games like Final Fantasy 7, or not 7, but just any Final Fantasy?
It's funny you say that game specifically, because I did play that on the Xbox for some time. I never beat it. I got stuck on like a very difficult boss, but like I am a big fan of those games for sure.
So when I was like younger, like role playing games were some of like my just favorites. Like that's just all I would play basically. And so with my action figures, I would create like a role playing game with my action figures, like rolling dice to see how far they'd walk and shit.
Yeah.
And if you were going to encounter a somebody to fight, and I did it through my house, and my mom would get so pissed, just be like, "This is a disaster."
She's like, "There he goes rolling dice again."
I'm trying to play my game, Mom.
It was like nearly Dungeons and Dragons, but at like an early age. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's very, very. It not nearly as advanced as Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, the kid version though.
Right. So back to music. All the singles you guys have released, are those going to be part of an EP or an album, or are you focusing on solely releasing singles right now?
So at this point, we have like a bunch of other songs that we're gearing up to release, like probably like earlier on next year.
Okay.
But we're trying to like honestly still decide if we should still throw those songs on there and like use that as a full album, or just like drop an EP. We're kind of in this weird situation now where it's like those songs are just getting so old that it's like, it's not, I mean, a couple like Number One Enemy we put on there, but like maybe Ordinary Love. But like, for example, like the other songs, like if we don't do that, we'd probably just do like remixes of those songs on the record. It's just, we're like, regardless, we're going to do like a record drop for like the next release.
Okay.
Probably like a single with the release, but at this point, like we just finished up a couple new songs. We got to do vocals for like 2 more songs, and then we have like I think 5 songs that we're ready to drop. Okay. So then after that, so it's just kind of like a matter of like if we wanted to put it out as a record, or you know what I mean.
I think our goal is just to like have some physical copy of like a body of work, like to sell to people, whether it's like an EP or a full album.
Right. For sure.
But it's like basically like if we do an EP, it's like if we got physicals, we would just throw the other songs on there anyway, just kind of like bonus tracks for the physicals,
Right. I mean, you have them.
Yeah.
You might as well.
We just want people to have those in hand, because I love those songs.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, they're good songs. Do you
Thank
feel like in today's musical world, it's more important to focus on releasing singles rather than albums, or?
Yes, honestly, like that's why if you were to do a record, it's good to at least have like a full length. Honestly, like it's definitely better to have like half that record out as singles, just because individual songs just get all the more love. That's really all it is. It's just kind of like if you put all this work into a song, and for example, if there's an album full of bangers and like you are literally like each song in this album is like the best song I ever wrote, you put it all out at once, odds are two of your best songs are only going to get as recognized as you want all of them to get, for all that attention. So it's a matter of just an individual attention that you want for the songs you're most passionate about, really.
Absolutely, completely agree. It's tough because the attention spans of people is a lot smaller now because there's so much out there, and it's harder for a lot of people to just sit down and like listen to an album, like a
Right.
full album. And so if you're doing singles, you're going to at least catch their attention for that single. And so if you do five, six singles, that also gives you something to promote through over time. And if you just threw out an album, then you're just going to be like, oh, here's our album full of 10 songs. Now what? How do I promote,
you gotta try and do the same thing again within like the next like 2 years, because like if you wait longer than that, like people will start to lose interest.
You gotta do it way sooner
album
than that.
cycles in general are like, I feel like are expected to be a lot quicker right now as well.
And you can do like music videos, lyric videos to kind of like help with those songs on the album, like if they're already out,
right,
to help like get them the exposure you want, but it's never going to get that initial like single drop exposure, So it's really a tough thing because like we're in that situation too. It's like, we love all these songs and we want like each song to really get like all that love. So it's like never dropped a record and we don't want to like kind of like not get as much excitement over a song that we're so excited about, I guess,
Absolutely. I think one of the most effective strategies that I've seen people do, that people are all people are doing now, is like the waterfall strategy, so you release one song on top of the other on top of the other. And so when somebody clicks on the most recent song, then the other song and the other songs are below it, just like
I've been seeing that lately too.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember talking about this because we haven't done that yet and we got to start doing it.
Yeah, and it's super effective. And so what you just do is you do that, and all the way pretty much until the album's out, and then you're like, here you go, there's the album. There it is.
Yep. And at that point, people are used to like hearing those songs, so they're like, you can kind of space them out on the record even then. So people are excited. They're like, oh, I'm gonna listen to this track and like I'm gonna keep listening because I know this track is coming up like a little bit later.
Right.
So it's definitely effective. And I've seen like it's crazy how quick that became like a thing, but like it seems like it works. Like people never used to do that. Now I see everyone doing it and I'm like, damn, it's smart.
Well, it's very effective. And I think that it took a long time for people to start doing it is because it wasn't just something people knew how to do. It's like all back end stuff on DistroKid or CD Baby or whatever you use,
right.
And it's knowing how to do that. And so not everybody knows, but it's easy once you figure it out.
Yeah, no, it's definitely become more like, I don't know, accessible, so to speak, to be able to like structure it like that for sure. So
absolutely,
that helps out. I remember talking to Jake about this like somewhat recently and being like, yo, next song we got to include Number One Enemy and start like sequencing them like that.
Yeah.
Try and really like put them together.
That'd
be a great way to lead up to an album if that's our goal or whatever our project ends up being.
That's the way to go. So you all started sporting in late of 2019, released your first single, Words That'll Make Me Change. A few months after you started the band, got shut down the pandemic. How did that impact you as a new band?
That like honestly, it's weird because I feel like in a way it kind of helped us just like kind of get tighter as a group and like more closer as friends. Like,
Mhm.
because like we were like, I mean, I've been playing music with Ben for like 10 years now, but everybody else, you know, initially we had our friend Joe playing bass, and Robbie was our drummer. Robbie and I at that point had just really started playing music together. I knew him like from years ago from playing a show together, hadn't seen him in forever. And then we just like, I was like filling in on bass for another band that he was playing drums in at the time. And I was like, damn, this guy is crazy good now. And like, we just like became like best friends. And then, so we started making music together. Like I recorded a couple songs, like just as kind of like for fun. And then from there, me and Robbie started working together, put the band together. And then it was like, when this whole pandemic thing happened, it was like, we played 2 shows and then everything locked down.
Yeah.
So in that time, Joe ends up leaving the band. So then we ended up getting Anthony on bass, and he's like a way, not like to insult anybody, because like Joe's still a good friend of mine. We still play with him, but Anthony was a way better fit. And it was like, we just got to, it finally actually kind of started to feel like a real band, you know, and we like, just because we were doing things as friends and like doing things just like more so with just motivation to like write music and like not focus on playing shows. We just tried to like take advantage of that, you know. So then by the time we were ready to play shows, like we were ready and we were tight, and like it just felt like we were extra prepared. And like, you know, because for not playing a show for 2 years, you don't know what to expect, but we're like way tighter than we were before. And like, I don't know, everything's just been like really smooth sailing since then, honestly, aside from like the like COVID spike last winter, like because we thought everything was back. And then last winter we had like our first like big tour. We had like 8 or 9 shows booked. We were gonna go to like Nashville, Florida. And then COVID spike happened and we had to cancel the whole thing again. So
It was winter,
otherwise,
you know, everyone
yeah,
was back inside.
Yeah,
literally.
it was rough. It was like it was so like it happened so fast too, because it was like we were within weeks of this tour, and it was just like spiking to the point where like it just was not like logistically worth it, essentially. So
Yeah, we're
it
like
is what it is. We ended up
exactly.
sorry, go ahead, Jake.
No, you're good, dude.
I was gonna say, so like we did like come back this last summer, kind of. It was like we kind of took like another short like break from shows after that, and then we kind of came back like more in full force during the summer, and we're playing shows a little bit more frequently. So it's definitely a good time for like, and it seems like, I don't want to jinx anything, like hopefully it doesn't repeat this winter. Because if not, like, you know, it'll be much easier to keep that kind of momentum going like all the way into like next year.
Right.
You know.
Well, that was the other
It's
thing
just
too.
been a
I
little bit
guess
weird
like
with the spikes.
with the pandemic, initially with that initial lockdown, I always forget that like the first shows that we played after lockdown was like a 4-show run of like 4-day run of shows, I guess. So like we played New York for the first time, New Jersey for the first time, Massachusetts, not for the first time, but it was like just 4 days of like crazy good crowds, like every single night. And like we never played a tour before, you know? So like just to be able to do that after not playing forever, like it was like the best experience, you know? So that was like launched us into like the confidence that we were looking for, you know? So like Ben was saying, we were able to do that again this past summer. So we're hoping to try to either plan something like the winter time or lean towards the springtime to play it safe with the whole COVID stuff. Sure. We just don't want to like get our hopes up and put all this time into a tour and then have to cancel again, you know? So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully, you know, we don't run into that sort of stuff again. But
moment of silence.
I guess you just never know.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't even want to say anything because I will jinx it if I say anything about it.
Yeah. We have a couple shows lined up in like January, but we're just, you know, I'm not going to go too hard until like it gets closer around that time and we kind of have a better feel, you know.
So while so during that like initial lockdown and all that sort of stuff, you pretty much just like worked on practicing, getting tighter as a band and working at where you're writing new music as well?
Yeah. So most of the new songs that we've been finishing up now, like we basically like got together and we've like demoed out probably like 10, maybe 12 songs.
Sure.
Then we went to the studio and recorded like 5 of those.
Okay.
And then basically after this second lockdown with the whole tour canceling in January last year, that put me in like another type of like depression slump, like just not wanting to finish these songs, like
sure,
kind of avoided them for like 6 months.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard when to get excited about stuff sometimes,
Exactly,
like
man.
when shit just keeps happening.
Yeah.
So during that first initial lockdown, you released the song Tongue Tied. Was that recorded before everything happened, or did you work on that remotely?
Yes. Yeah, so that's so Ordinary Love, Tongue Tied, Words That'll Make Me Change, and Number One Enemy. Yeah, it's like,
Four
oh,
of
I
the songs we have out are
I
from
almost said dead ass. But so that song, all those songs were recorded like in 2019 to 2000, yeah, like right before 2020, honestly. And then like over time we like finished those songs, like added touches and vocals and stuff, but like primarily like all those songs were older. We kind of sat on them because then also during lockdown we were hesitant to release music because of everything going on. It was just kind of a weird time,
Right.
you know. It was
Absolutely.
like it's hard to want to like release music without playing shows to really hype it up, you know.
Yeah, it was a really difficult time for bands too. Like, so did you guys do any like live streams, or just stream a show or anything like that?
Yeah,
'Cause
we did a
that's what
few.
most bands were doing.
Yeah, we did a few. A couple were like acoustic, and then we did like a full band session, which was kind of cool. Nothing too crazy. Each time we like the full band one kind of felt like we played a show, but the other two, you know, it was kind of like not like diminishing, but definitely like, I don't know, underwhelming afterwards, because then you're
Sure.
like, man, like, I don't know, what are we're just going home
Like
now.
you turn off the phone and that's it. Like that's the end of the show.
Yeah, it was like, well, it was like playing to nobody, but I think there was people watching.
Yeah, like I missed like playing a set and saying hi to all my friends after, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was a very different experience. It was one of the things that was really cool though about that whole time was I mean, this show even started during that time, because it was like, what the hell do I do?
Yeah,
What do
right.
we do? You know, and we kind of found out that, you know, in that time there's a lot of ways you can still be creative. There's a lot of different roads you can take, and it made people have to think more about how they can get their music out, how they can get their music out to more people. And now that you can play shows again, it's kind of hard, because it's like, well, we kind of changed the path, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of had to like adapt to not being able to play shows and having to like promote or like advance your band or group in other ways, essentially, because you
Right.
can't just be like stagnant, because you at that time you didn't know, no one knew how long it was going to last, so
Right.
you kind of had to like do something. You're like, I can't just like stop
Exactly. And
anything.
then when
Yeah.
we played like our first like show like home after all this stuff, it's like so many people come out, you're like, okay, like I don't want to like lose that fire, you know, so like I don't want to like kind of, you know, overextend our welcome and, you know, kind of have people get sick of us again.
Right.
Not like we barely really existed before the pandemic anyway. So like it's like kind of like pretending like we're a new band in that sense, and just like only playing out locally like every few months or so that
Right.
you know everybody's gonna come out, you know.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and it's, I think with the pandemic that really helped start that, where it's like just kind of, because you don't see these people for a couple of years, you just like are able to imagine like all these things, you know what I mean, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, that was even one of the questions I was going to have, is that, or talk to you about, was just the fact that like once people were immediately when people were able to go out and see a show, it hasn't stayed that way. But when people were hungry, man, they were like so ready to go out and go to a show. People were going to all the small shows. It didn't matter. Like they like right as soon as shows became a thing again, people were out going to shows. Now it's back to where you can play for two people.
Yeah,
it was fun while that lasted, but
yeah.
I do think that it helped overall. I do think there's still people that are like, you know, I gotta appreciate this, because you never know when it might go away again.
Right.
So
you definitely see a lot more of that now than before, because before it was rough for a while there, man. Like you could be promoting your show so hard, thinking that like, oh, the response to this has been great. I'm expecting a few hundred people, and then like 15 come.
Yeah. And then you get the I'll catch the next show.
Right,
Text.
right.
You get like 50 of those
Now
texts.
it's like, well, what if COVID happens again? You might not get a next show.
There may not
Now-
be another show.
Now that's in people's heads.
Well, that's why
Right.
it's good to really like play those shows so rare, so you never know when you're gonna see us again. You know, it's
Exactly.
like, you know, that kind of helps with that effect of like, you know, like this place we're next to our hometown. It's like 5 minutes from where we grew up, so it's like a venue we play at like once, maybe twice a year. So like every time we play there, we get at least 100 kids in the door because it's like such a like easy place to get to.
Absolutely.
You know?
Especially where we live. We're kind of like in the boonies in Rhode Island. So like we don't know as many people that like are in Providence. So it's a little tougher to get people to come all the way up to see us sometimes. But
We're like
that one-
half the crowd when we play in
Yeah.
Providence, you know.
it's still good though.
Sure.
A lot easier than it was before,
So yeah,
to be honest.
so what is the music scene like in Rhode Island?
It's honestly really good. I mean, it's changed a lot over time. Like me and Ben, we're getting older. Like I'm not as in touch now, like with the bands that are new. And honestly, like there's some cool ones. Like we're really like our bassist, he's in a band called Never Coming Home.
Okay.
Like they're a great pop punk band. Like they're super young and like crazy talented. We did our last run of shows with like our last like tour with them. It was like 4 shows, but so like they're great. There's a bunch of other like just more pop punk bands, like a lot of pop punk and a lot of emo and a lot of metalcore. That's
yeah, there's a
that's
nice
awesome.
little metal scene in Rhode Island for sure.
yeah.
There's
I
not
was
as
gonna
much of a metal core scene up here. I mean,
Yeah.
up in where I'm at in Duluth, most of our music is folk, you know, fiddles and banjos and shit.
Word.
That's
Pretty
kind of
rough
cool
up
though.
here.
You get some bluegrass stuff like
Not when that's all there is.
that. So are you into that stuff, or are you more into like metal or like other stuff?
I like a bit of everything. I like some folk music. It depends on what it is and who it is, I guess.
You consider Pine Grove folk? Or is it
No.
more like Americana?
Yeah, they're the Pine Grove's pretty good though. But I mean like they don't do electric guitars very often. It's like
Yeah.
acoustic
Right.
and you know it's like if it is folk, it's more like like Ryan Adams, I guess.
Okay.
If you know who that is.
Nope. I think I feel like our videographer Connor definitely does. He loves that stuff.
Sure. Yeah, he was you know, pretty popular at one point in time. I think he just got canceled. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't keep up with it.
Yeah.
There's too much to keep up with.
Cut that out, cut that out, cut that out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got one other question for you before we move on to our next segment. If you guys could give our listeners one piece of advice that you know now that you wish you knew when you were first starting out, what would it be?
Honestly, I'm sure mine might be different from Ben's, but just something I'm always so adamant about that I kind of already harped on, but it's just like, don't play locally. Like when you first start out, play a bunch of shows so everybody knows who you are, you know, just like, you know, like even if they're not really promoted, hop on just like last minute shows if anybody needs it. But, you know, once you really kind of like are tight and like are starting to become something, like just play your shows like every few months or so people actually like want to come out, you know, because I feel like that's the biggest thing that kills local music is that just people just play anything, and it's just
Right.
like, who's gonna want to play if they know you're playing next week, bro? Like,
Right.
I don't know, it really kills the, I don't know, because I don't want to create like act like there's this whole like fantasy world of like local music and like the rock stars and stuff, but you know, you can create that in a sense of like making people actually want to see you play, you know.
That I can't even stress that enough, and that is so common. I have friends that do that, and I'm like, and they're like, no one comes out to our show. I'm like, no shit. I don't know what else to
You guys are
tell
playing
you.
every
You
other week.
play every freaking month, like or more, multiple times a month. You can't do that. Like like, because especially if you look at it in the fact of you're just starting out and your only fan base is your friends. Okay, you can't get 20 friends to come out every week to see you. It
Yep.
doesn't work that way. And if you don't bring anybody, you don't help the show. So all you are doing is hindering the show.
Exactly.
When maybe they could have put somebody else on that actually would have brought somebody.
Right. Yep. No, I definitely agree with that. But I think my advice, it would be different. It would be, I mean, there's so many pieces of advice, but I think one I would give is to learn how to basically use recording software earlier, because like being able to record demos helps the songwriting process and changes it so much. Like when you can like hear what you're doing back and not just like recording like your band practicing on your phone and like listening back, like literally like recording into a software, like even if it's rough, like it's so much like better and easier, especially if you're gonna like go with that. Like then it makes it easier in the studio too, like if you actually like are going to the studio and not like home producing, because obviously that's totally fine too. But like for us, we like go to another producer, so like that helps us there as well. So that would be my advice, is learn that earlier, because in our old band we always just jammed the songs on the fly and like wrote them on the fly, like in person.
Yeah, it sucked. Because then you never,
it works, but it could
takes forever to get a song done, because then you don't practice for 2 months, and then you guys get back together and you forget where you left off, and then you have to like rewrite the song basically, you know, and then you have to like hopefully remember everything you did when you go to the studio, and then you leave the studio and you're like, fuck, I forgot that part, dude.
Yeah,
you know, every time.
No, and that's smart as well. Especially, we've stressed on this on the podcast multiple times in the past as well. But if you have the means to work with a producer, because let's be honest, that's not cheap. You know, if you have the means to work with a producer, absolutely work with a producer, because having somebody that has that musical knowledge and an extra ear and ideas to make your song better. Like, don't, you know, there's a difference between like having your friend help you and calling him a producer. I mean, there's
a difference between
someone who's like looking at your song like objectively,
right?
Like, it's just like an outside perspective, and it's someone that like ideally is like experienced, so like they have to know like at least something about what you talk about what they're talking about. So it is great to have like the extra ear and extra like voice to like guide you, especially if you're unsure on like what direction something should go in
right. And like our producer, we've been working with him for like 6 years at this point. And like we've just established a really trusting relationship. It's like our old band, he was a lot more hesitant to give us his input because he wanted us to trust him. And it's like I started telling him like, dude, tell me anything you want me to like change, like tell me anything you think sounds better. Like I want full opinions. Like I want to be able to collaborate. Like I want to be able to work with people. I want to not have like that closed mindset and just like make this sound as best as it probably can. You know,
the best thing for the song, you know, what's best for the song.
And you know how you can get the means to pay for a producer like that is by playing your shows every 3 months and actually getting paid for them.
Well, yeah, and then and also in all reality is when you're first starting out, you put your own money into it. So
you gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. No, I've said this so many times just in life. Being in a band is one of the dumbest, most expensive things you could ever want to do for a career. Now, would I ever not want to do it? Absolutely not. I've always wanted to be a musician, but it is a very difficult road to travel. And you got to have tough skin, and you got to be willing to spend money, because you got to buy gear. You have to have proper gear. You can't look like a buffoon. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you gotta, you really, it's something that you just like get in all aspects. For the most part, you get what you put into it.
Right.
Like you want better gear, you got to put more into it. You want better, you know, recording quality, usually you got to put more into it.
Yeah, pay for
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like the biggest thing starting this band, was like money isn't really like a problem. Like when we started out initially, it was just kind of like, I was just like, all right, I'll pay, you know, what we got to pay to like just get this like started. You know what I mean? It's like, it's an investment, you know, you got to drop like $5,000 if you want it to like feel like it's actually something
Right.
that's like a product, you know,
An
it's
event.
a business.
And
Yeah.
eventually, if you keep going with it, and you know, and you run your merch right, and things like that, eventually all of it will just pay for itself. It'll
Yeah,
pay
and like
itself, you know.
that's like kind of where we're at now, you know, and it was awesome to like start out that way a few years ago, and like at the point now where it's like the money from merch pays for the next run of merch, you know,
Mhm.
and like the profits, and then the money we make from shows we use for recording, like it just kind of, you know, it pays for itself at least, you know, so you're not just like dumping money, you're at least covering your gas.
Right. And that for the hopes that it just also goes back in your pocket one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
You-
is the
you
goal.
Start to make your own money out of it. And with that, we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Do you love music videos and miss when MTV, VH1, and Fuse all actually played music videos? Then join me, Gibby, as I host a super awesome music video show on Twitch every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Unsigned Pop Punk Twitch channel. We play the best videos from up-and-coming pop-punk, emo, alternative music in the scene, so join us every Thursday and find your new favorite band.
And we are back with Jake and Ben from Sporting. It's been a fantastic time so far. You know, sometimes when I come back into this, I really wish that like I was on the radio, because then like this stuff would make more sense. You know?
Yeah.
if you're just jumping into the show right now,
We're
like who the
live.
fuck's coming in right now? You know, nobody is joining you right now.
For the audience out there.
Stop it. Yeah, it's the professionalism aspect, I guess, or wanting to be professional. But with that, we're gonna jump into our obscure questions segment. Y'all ready?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so this one actually works so perfectly. It's like I knew that you fucking liked wrestling, Jake. If each of you, if you could have an entrance music every time you walked into a room, what would it be?
Oh, dude, I've talked about this for fucking months. I got it right here.
Dude, this,
Oh, you already got it.
changes to me. This is something where a song will come on in my car, and I'm like, dude, I would love to walk in a room to this. I want to say, Drake.
I can't hear nothing. You came in hot and then it disappeared.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't want to make anybody's ears bleed, but hell yeah! Oh my god, by hell yeah! That
Nice.
song is
I feel
sick.
like you've showed me this before.
I did, and I was like in the car with Ben, and I was like, "Yo, if I was a wrestler, this would be my entrance song."
Yep. Oh man. I feel like for me, the one that I had that is like my default would be "Sabotage" by the Beastie Boys. That's just like my go-to break stuff song. Like, actually, I'll also throw in "Duality" by Slipknot, because our music video we did for Ordinary Love, where we broke stuff, we put on like theme songs for each of us, and that was the one I chose. So that would be there.
Nice.
As well.
Well, now that you say it, I can't get it out of my head. So the number one pick of mine is "Break Stuff" by Limp Bizkit.
Yeah. That's why I
fun.
refer to it as the break stuff song. Like, it's just some music is just break stuff
We
music.
literally had like a playlist of like all of our requested songs to break shit to. It was
Okay.
like the best thing. Like it was like we all like just like, you ever been to a Smash Room or like heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I've never been to a Smash Room.
Me either, but it was like going to a Smash Room from the way that people feel after like what they've told me. It's like I just felt
Satisfying
like
to smash stuff.
Yeah.
Surprisingly satisfying.
You never realize.
And
Oh,
if you
I'll
have
bet
some
it's fucking
badass
awesome.
We wore goggles and stuff. We were safe, you know.
Sure.
music.
That's cool. That sounds great.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
freaking
fun.
dope.
Next question. If animals could talk, which one do you think would be the nicest and why?
Probably cats.
You
You
think
think
so?
cats would
Cats
be-
are dicks.
Dude, I literally thought about my cat, because I thought you were gonna ask like who would you talk to first, and I was gonna say my cat, but the nicest is definitely not cats, and I'm a cat lover.
Dude, I have 2 cats, man, but they're not nice. One of my
Yeah.
cats is nice, but it's because he thinks he's a dog.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, I feel like dogs is the most obvious one. But like for some reason, I also feel like a dolphin would be super friendly.
Oh, yes, they're smart. They can feel your feelings.
Like from what I've heard, they'll they'll just completely screw up everything else in the ocean, but with humans for some reason they're friendly. So I can just picture like you're drowning and one swims up to you and he's like, "Yo, what up?" And like you're just like chilling.
Hey, friend, how are
Yeah,
you?
exactly. It would
Cats are
definitely
just
sound more like
honest.
that.
Cats are honest.
Like that's the thing. Like you can tell with when the way they look at you, like they judge you like the way you should be judged. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like if a cat could talk, you'd be like, "Nah, you look like shit right now, dude. Like change that outfit." Like,
Oh, for sure.
Just
You
ask
know-
what the nice animal would be. A nice animal is not going to tell you look like
but
shit.
they're nice in reality because they care so much about you.
Okay,
You know?
I see where you're going with it because
Yeah.
you like the honesty of it. See, my cat, which is the nice cat, is also a fucking dick because he steals my shit. Like, so we have had so much stuff in our house go missing because he takes it and he hides it in the ceiling somewhere. We don't know where. I had ordered stickers for my band a couple of years back, and he stole them. He stole
Oh my
he took
God.
that like
All
there
the
were I just had him sit in the box, right? I just had him sit in the box. I was gonna bring it out to my office. We'll worry about it later. So he went into my box, took the pack of stickers with his mouth,
Oh my God.
and he stole it. Never have found
Put
them.
it. Oh
The
my!
I don't know.
stickers are
They're
somewhere in your ceiling.
They're
Someone-
in my ceiling,
someone-
along with like
Hundreds of years from now, who owns that house is going to find them randomly.
yeah, along with like Target birds that he's stolen. You know, like those like Halloween or Christmas like Target birds. Stole some of them.
That
There's
makes
so
sense.
I can't even imagine what's all in his hidey hole. Like
Does he go after mice at all? I don't know if you guys ever have like mice in your house.
we actually recently have had a little bit of a mouse problem, and he's kind of lazy. He did catch the first one, but he just was like screwing around with it and playing with it. Our other cat, however, she's a badass hunter,
Killer.
man.
Oh man!
Got it. It was like, no, you're mine.
Yeah,
You're mine now.
yeah. I was thinking, 'cause he took the little birds. I was like, that sounds like a good-natured killer cat right there. That's kind of what my cat is. He's a good cat, but he will mess up a mouse. I've woken up to many decapitated mice in my bedroom before.
That is not something I've ever had to worry about yet, and I hope it's
Yeah.
that
He
sounds
thinks
awful.
he thinks he's being good. I feel bad
sure.
when I like scold him for it.
My dog used to do that. Like both my pit bulls would just go out in my old house and just kill groundhogs in our yard and like bring them back to us and just be like, "Look,
Yeah,
like,
and they
I'm
think
protecting
you're
you."
gonna be all proud of
Yeah,
them. And you're just
well-
like, oh God.
They were destroying the yard, man. They thought they were just, taking care of business.
We would literally be out like looking and be like, "Oh my god, those groundhogs are so cute."
Just run out immediately.
Yikes.
murder 'em.
See, now with the nicest animal, I was thinking, like, I think dogs are nice. Like, and I have a pit bull, and she's the sweetest animal in the world. However, I do think, though, I feel like a sloth man would be so nice because I feel like because they're so slow, I feel like they would just perpetually seem stoned.
Yeah.
Like, if you come up and be like, "Hey, Pat, what's up, man?"
I
That
would
means-
want to give him a hug though.
Max. Yeah. It'll be like, "Oh, sloth, can I give you a hug?" You'll be like, "I fucking love hugs, dude." Yeah.
Can you carry me across the street?
Yeah. I can't move very fast. And those cars are fast.
Covered in sloth slime.
Speaking of cars, this actually goes into my last question. I was having random thoughts today about weird things that we do in the car. So when you're driving, do you also lower the volume on the radio when you're looking for an address?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Why?
Because
Why do we
I
do
thought
that?
about this, and I'm like, and I feel like there.
Pull
it
up, I gotta
actually
fucking think.
legitimately- It actually legitimately like distracts you. Like having music, like something about it. It's like too many things occupying my brain at once. And like I've tried to be like, all right, I'm gonna figure this out and pay attention to this while music's happening. And I'm like, I can't. I've just accepted my brain can't do it. It's not something I can control.
No, like I can't, like I can't focus, like I can't think. But then have you ever had the situation where if you have people like yelling in your car, you just go to turn the volume down, forgetting that it's not actually music? That happens to me a lot.
I haven't had that happen, but
I have my girlfriend and her friend in the car. I just like for some reason think I'm turning down their
why
volume.
isn't it getting any quieter?
I wish it would
Like,
sometimes, right?
Oh my God.
So another thing I also noticed though, why are we also never happy with anybody's decisions? Like if a person is driving faster than us, they're a fucking idiot. But if they're driving too slow, they're a moron.
Yo,
Look at this asshole here.
They got to be driving exactly my speed, but they can't be near me when they're doing it because I don't like people driving the same speed near me. So it's anyone.
Well, right, yeah. If they're driving the same speed in the lane next to you, you're like, what's this?
Like, what are you doing,
doing?
Speed racer? Get out of here!
God, get out of here! You're just
You're
worried
like,
they're just gonna like they're just waiting just to just hit you. You know,
Ben's road rage is next level though. So like honestly, like
I will say it sets me off more when people. I think fast cars I can deal with, but I'm just kind of like, oh, you're a douchebag, but see ya. Like you're off doing your own thing. If you're gonna get pulled over, you're gonna get pulled over. But like a slow person, it's like you can't get rid of them. They're in front of you. Where are you gonna go? Like you can't go anywhere.
I think that the thing that drives me the most bad is the slow driver that you pass that speeds up to pass you just to slow down. It's like put on like figure it out.
I feel
man.
like I'm that guy. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my God!
Figure it out, dude.
You cause so much road rage and you don't even know it, Jake.
I'll just be like, man, I'm so sick of being behind this guy, and then I get in front of him, and then I'm like, oh God, I'm going 60.
Yeah.
Oh, you go slow when you get in front of them.
It's just put on your cruise control, man. Just put it on.
Yeah.
Like, like there's nothing that drives me more mad is like when I'm like highway driving, you know, I'm going for a long time and I see the same car multiple times. It's like, you figure it out.
Get away from me.
Go home.
Oh my God. You're like,
Well,
don't you have anything better to do?
Yeah, right. Well, that's it, man. You guys have made it past the obscure questions segment. We just got one left, and that's rapid fire questions. So you're just gonna speak from the heart. You're gonna shoot from the hip. You ready? Just go right for it. Whatever first thing pops into your brain, you just answer it.
Are these like one word answers or like sentence answers or a mix?
One word answers.
Okay. One word answers.
For the most part.
For the most part.
There's one that's not. Okay, you guys ready?
Yes.
Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Coke.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
There you go. Mario or Luigi?
Mario.
Luigi.
Ooh,
That's
Ben,
my
so you were the
Smash Brothers melee character.
were you a little brother?
No, I'm actually the older. I have a younger sister. I'm the older brother.
Fair enough. Typically, the younger brother gets Luigi.
That's fair. That was
Ben
my
is my
character in
younger-
Smash Bros. That's the
Ben
thing.
is my younger brother.
Yeah, right. Good luck with that one. He's my son. Let's get this straight.
Fair enough. I actually prefer Luigi anyways because of the Luigi's Mansion games. He's a ghost hunter. He's like a ghost buster. Way cooler.
I actually have not played those games, unfortunately.
Oh
I'm a
my
big fan
gosh.
of the Super Mario games, and I did have a GameCube, so I could have easily played Luigi's Mansion. I just never got it.
Got some good B-sides.
It's so good. Like it's my favorite of like I think the Mario series.
Yeah.
Personally.
Maybe one day if it gets like remastered or something like that, I'll get to play it.
I mean, they made a new one on the Switch.
I think you're right. It's a new one though, right? It's not like the original one remastered.
No, it's a new one. Yeah.
Maybe I'll try that out. Get the Luigi's Mansion experience somehow.
It's good. It's good. Good fun.
Yeah.
This one you may not know, but you might. So I'll ask anyway. This one's for 80s babies mostly. Can you sing the Bagel Bites jingle?
I know I can't. I know off top that I can't.
No.
You got a 90s baby right here. So
Well, see, and the commercial was in the 90s as well. Like, well, the commercial was
too
in
young.
the 90s. So, but
I was too young for it though. That
for
was
sure.
I was,
I
I
was
was
99.
Do y'all get Bagel Bites?
Oh yeah.
I've had them before, but I don't get them currently.
Oh man, like those are that
But
that's
I'm
a
not
good
anti-bagel
nostalgic
bites.
treat.
They got
Yes.
them at Dunkin' now. They have the mini bagel bites.
I like Dunkin' Donuts,
Yeah.
like pizza bites.
Like they have just like little bagel bites that are filled with cream cheese.
Oh,
That's different than like the bagel bites.
oh yeah, I'm thinking bagel
Oh, well,
bites, like the
pizza
pizza
bagel.
bagel bites.
Oh yeah, my mom used to make those all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're the best. They're the best. And just for our listeners, I'll play that right here. I always play it. I'm not gonna sing it this time. They'll need me to sing it.
This time.
I'll sing it, but not this time.
I know it by heart.
Gwen Stefani or Haley Williams?
Haley Williams.
I'll go Haley Williams.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not as big of a Paramore fan as everyone else in our scene is.
Sure,
Me either,
it's
but compared to
understandable.
Gwen.
I almost wanted to go Gwen Stefani, but I was like, that's my hipster choice. I
Well,
can't.
you make your own decisions. You are your own person.
No, I can't. The thing is like, if
Isn't that what your guys' song is about? Being
Yeah, dude,
your
come
own
on, man.
person?
Haley
Tell
Williams-
your truth, Ben.
Haley Williams is my number one enemy. That's the reality. No, she's cool. I can't hate. I like Paramore better than Gwen Stefani stuff. So
That's fair enough. I mean,
except that Gwen Stefani song, it's like woohoo, woohoo.
Only one
Yeah.
I know.
see,
Banger,
I
banger song.
when I think of Gwen Stefani, though, I think of No Doubt.
Yeah, of course.
And that's also like, so Gwen Stefani's mine based off of No Doubt. I like Paramore as well, but not all Paramore.
I wanna give them more of a chance. I
Not new
need to
Paramore.
listen to like a full album of theirs because like I have songs I like by them, but like it's mostly just like the local scene we're in like loves these guys so much that it's almost
yeah.
like turned me off from them a little bit. But I want to give them a fair chance. I want to listen to them and see if I buy into the hype.
Sure. Like the new song it's interesting. I don't know where I'm at with it. But boy, people, it's weird that they were able to keep their following because I don't think they grew a following once they completely changed their sound.
Yeah,
But their fan base stuck with them through that complete change.
yeah,
And it's like, so that's where I don't really like that kind of like music that much, that indie kind of rock pop stuff. I don't personally like that. So it's like,
So you
well,
don't like sporting? No, I'm just kidding.
oh, you is not the same thing, brother. But and I mean, some of it's okay, and like their new songs grown on me a little bit, but it's like it's not Riot, and which I prefer.
right. Yeah, I haven't actually heard the new song yet. I want to go back to one of their old albums and then maybe I'll save that song until like I finish those albums because I want to listen to Riot and then I think it's like the album after that. I can't remember the name of. There's like
Yeah.
two albums that everyone goes to from them.
Oh yeah.
And I know Riot is one of them. and I
Right.
can't remember the name.
Right's their like biggest selling album, I would assume.
I think so too. That's the one everyone knows. I mean, I know the most songs from that album already, so I may as well listen to it all the way through and
Sure.
give them a shot. If I don't like them,
Go
I
for
don't
it.
like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a fair shot. We have 2 rapid fire questions left. Hard shell or soft shell tacos?
Hard
Oh.
shell.
Ooh, one. See, these rapid fire questions, man, they infringe us.
Pretty
Y'all gotta be
intensive.
careful.
Yeah.
I need the crunch. I need the crunchy taco.
Dude,
I'm
they're
not
good.
against soft shell tacos though. I like.
What
mine.
about a nice double decker?
Like a double decker soft shell taco?
Yeah, no, where you put like the hard shell, and then you put the
Oh,
soft shell around it.
No, that's fire. That's
Oh, yeah.
fire.
I forget what they call that. Like a crunch wrap.
Hey, well, there is a crunch wrap which is different. That's like the flat like thing. It depends on where you go. I believe Taco John's, which is a very popular like taco fast food joint up in the Midwest, it's called a double decker. Huh? What's that?
Fast food.
Yeah. But Taco Bell's, I think it's a Taco Bravo.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called.
I kind of want tacos now.
Oh, dude, I can literally have tacos like every day. I would love to have tacos right now. I
wish
also
had
want
mine
to, dude.
close
I
up.
also want to go get one of those new adult Happy Meals at McDonald's.
I know, right?
I
Those
heard
do
that
look
you have to
kinda
pay extra for the toy though.
What? Get fuck out of
Yeah.
here. Like
Extra like
that's
$2.
I don't need a toy.
I'm just gonna
So
get
now-
a real
I'm an
combo.
adult.
now. If y'all have watched our show Tears for Fears, it's our tier ranking show. In the very first episode, talking about the top 10 or the top places to stop and get food while you're on tour, while you're on the road. And I put McDonald's all the way at the bottom just for this shit right here.
Thank you.
Like, and here's the thing, like, I love McDonald's, dude. It's delicious, but it's not cheap. It's not fucking cheap.
It's the most expensive fast food. I saw a tweet yesterday talking about how Burger King is so expensive. I'm like, bro, they
No
actually have a
way.
dollar menu. They have a dollar menu.
An actual dollar menu.
Thank you. Not
And-
$1.75, and then after tax, it's two.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I
they've got a significant more amount of deals. Significant.
a
Mhm.
lot.
Like,
I'm just
you seen
laughing
the
at Jake
coupons?
talking about fast food economics. He's like an expert on this
Dude,
kind of stuff.
When you order it online, like DoorDash, they got like these crazy deals. Like for like $20, you get like 3 meals, and like it's like crazy.
oh yeah, the family thing.
Yeah!
Dude, it's like 15,
I get that for myself.
dude, it's like $15. You get like 3 Whoppers. You get
Awesome.
3 cheeseburgers, 2 French fries. Like,
It's amazing.
it's insane. No, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Totally have done it. It's a shit, man.
I am definitely.
We gotta hang out sometime, Patrick.
You
Agreed.
guys are gonna
Agreed.
eat fast food and watch wrestling together.
Hell yeah. I'm in. I'm in. Okay, last question, then we'll get you on your way to watch wrestling. Sum 41 or Yellow Card?
Yellow card.
Yellow card. My answer would have been some 41, probably like in high school, but
I was gonna say, but
Yellow
you know,
Card
I'm gonna
sucks a little bit
I'm gonna
more for me.
conform because you're doing it again.
no, this is a totally different reasoning this time, but
Nice.
I never really listen to either of those guys too much, but I do like Yellow Card songs more.
it's so tough for me because I know more songs from Sum 41, but like the songs I know from Yellow Card, I like more. I think that's what like is driving me in the Yellow Card direction.
But if we're talking about like bands who have had like a larger impact on that kind of music, honestly, Sum 41. Because like they've had they're like such a bigger.
I'd agree. I think they had that like hip hop style in their songs
Right.
that like was really influential in that early.
I mean,
pop
yeah,
punk period.
you're picking basically all. Anytime I have any of these kind of questions, it's not like who's better, who's more impactful. It's what do you prefer? Who do you like? They're both golden. You know, they're both legends in the scene. Same thing with Gwen Stefani and Hayley Williams. They're queens, man. They're both legends. Like, just, who
Like,
do you like more?
If you put
No
on
wrong
like a
answer.
Yellow Card album and then like a Sum 41 album, I would end the Sum 41 album significantly quicker than I would the Yellow Card album.
Fair enough. There you go. See, I'm a Sum 41 guy because I like all them metally
I
riffs.
could tell by your
They
reaction.
do got the riff.
Yeah, you
Oh,
seem
dude,
disappointed
I
with-
love Yellow Card too. I think they're great. You guys could put my reaction though was the fact that you both chose Yellow Card, which
You're like,
I was like, okay.
Honestly, if you ask me on a certain day, I may say Sum 41. It's really close. Like it's like if I heard a certain Sum 41 song in a certain mood, and you like asked me that question, I'd be like Sum 41. Because they do got the riffs.
Dude, they got so many riffs. Okay, guys, that's it. You finished the podcast. You did it. That's all that's left. Just let everybody know what you got going on, what's coming up, and what's next.
So yeah, we'll be playing a show January 6th at the Knickerbocker Cafe in Westerly, Rhode Island. It's like our next like local show from this point. But otherwise, you can follow us on Sporting Band at on Instagram or Twitter at Sporting Band, or you can email us for anything at thebandsporting@gmail.com. I'm give Ben the reins. He can say whatever he wants.
And we're on Spotify, Apple Music, all that fun stuff, just under the name Sporting. We got more stuff coming soon. We may have new songs out by the time this episode comes out. So we'll either have new music then or have new music soon after.
Hell yeah, guys. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. It was a lot of fun.
Pat, thank you so much, man. Seriously, it was really cool.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
thank you so much for having us.
Hell
I like
yeah.
having real conversations.
Heck yeah, guys. Well, with that, guys, we'll see you next week.
You too, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much for checking out the show. Please hit that like, subscribe, or follow button so you never miss an episode. And thank you so much to those of you who already are. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or anywhere else you stream your podcasts. If you're in the position to help us grow and like behind the scenes access and exclusive shows, head on over to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk. Let us know in the comments who you'd like to see on the show and what other content you'd like to see. Thank you all so much.